Good morning. We're shooting in Brabus today. Let's go. We're looking cool. This is insane. What's up everyone and welcome. Today I'm going to walk you through the full process of how we created this epic Brabus edit. And a huge shout out to Higgsfield.ai for making this one happen and sponsoring this video. We used their tools throughout the entire edit. And recently I'm super excited about hybrid content creation, basically merging traditional filmmaking with iPhone shots, modern editing techniques and AI powered tools, all with the goal of creating the most epic videos possible. And it always starts with the idea, right? So I got the chance to shoot this insane Brabus G-Class here on Koh Samui for 1 hour, which got me pretty excited. So we headed out a few days before to scout some locations because we only had a certain radius where we could actually move the car. And since it's rainy season right now and we also had to stay pretty flexible with the timing, we had to find the right location in advance. So we drove around, looked at a couple of places and we randomly passed by this 7-Eleven where I thought this is the perfect spot. So I'm just gonna take a couple of photos here to see how it's going to look and how it could turn out, because with the Brabus we don't have much time and we want to spend this time to get the best shots possible. The combination of a Brabus G-Class with that Asian 7-Eleven vibe is just way too sick to pass up. So we locked it in, so I was happy with the location. For the concept, I went with 3 stages. First, a catchy UGC BTA style hook to pull people in, then followed by a POV shot to showcase Higgsfield Supercomputer feature in this augmented reality kind of way that I just love. And from there straight into a speed ramp sequence with that signature effects you can pull off these days with these sick AI video tools. So the night before I actually prepared all the equipment and rigged up my POV setup, which is this helmet with the FX3 and the 10mm Laowa lens. Just a beast combo. I also added a monitor on top so I can actually see what I'm shooting and dial in the framing and exposure. Then I practiced the choreography, which is something I always do, especially when you're tight on time on the shooting day. Because the performance and choreography has to be thoughtful, it has to be fast, it has to match the tool you're showcasing, and the performance has to feel real and seamless. So once I had the version I was happy with, I quickly scripted it in my notes so I knew exactly what I needed when we got on location. And the next morning I woke up and it was literally raining. And I thought, no way, this can't be it. We have to shoot today. So we just packed our stuff. We just crossed fingers that the rain stops until 11 AM. What's up? So now we are going to drive towards the location where we meet the Brabus. And we're gonna drive the Brabus to the 7-Eleven and park in front. Hope that we're gonna have some space because, you know, if you've ever been to Asia, to any 7-Eleven parking spot, it's quite busy there. So yeah, let's see how that goes. Maybe just fix it in post and just yeah, make all the other cars and scooters disappear. And yeah, but I'm really excited. All right, so here we are. We're gonna shoot this Brabus today. This beauty is super nice. Alright guys, now it's time. We're driving with the Brabus to the location. I'm beyond excited, so let's start. This is literally first time driving a Brabus. Whoa. And actually first time driving a G-Class. So this is so sick. Whoa. The sound of just turning on that car is just incredible. And especially with that location. I don't know how much we see on camera, but this location with that car is just insane. So we grabbed the car and headed to the spot we had scouted a few days earlier. The only problem was that the parking lot was super busy because the 7-Eleven is right on the main road and everyone is passing by. But we got lucky and found a small spot right at the end of the lot. And Then I jumped out of the car and got the iPhone ready straight away, because with our time window, the gimbal and the full setup just wasn't really an option. It takes too long to dial in the path and walk it right and stable, especially with not much space and motorbikes crossing everywhere. So the phone was just the quickest setup, plus it's totally fine if it gets a little wet. And in around 20 minutes, I actually had the car shot from every angle, wide and details. And after that, it was time for the POV. I had structured the schedule beforehand, so I knew it was iPhone shots or gimbal car shots first, and then POV second.
All right, I just took all the photos. I'm already sweating, so now it's time for the POV.
The helmet rig was already prepped in the back of the car, so I just grabbed it, threw it on, and since I had practiced the choreography back home, I was pretty confident with the movements and could just focus on the framing and timing. For the settings, I went with a really high shutter to kill any motion blur and pushed the f-stop up as well. It was really bright outside anyway, so that worked for the exposure too. And for shots like these, if you want to track, want to mask or rotoscope later on, you really don't want any motion blur, because it makes all of that super hard. So those are pretty much my go-to settings for this kind of POV work. The last shot we did was the BTS UGC for the hook. I got my colleague Jacob to film me pretending to jump out of the Brabus, walk in front of the car and start shooting with the iPhone. That one came together pretty well too, so we ended up getting every shot in under an hour because we had to give the car back.
We made it! I think it took us now 30 to 40 minutes. Now we got some fresh water from the legend behind, thank you so much. And let's get back and check the footage.
Honestly, the whole thing was so exciting. It was actually my first time ever driving a Brabus G-Class, and with this location on Koh Samui, the whole experience was just incredible. So with all of the footage right in the back, we're ready to jump into the edit.
Alright, so now I'm done with the edit. It took about a week because I had so many ideas. The edit usually is the most creative part for me, because I can now, with this hybrid content creation, I can come up with ideas and actually try it. So there are no limits. So let me show you what we came up with. So the first thing I changed was actually the hook, because originally, as you know, we shot that UGC BTS shot of me walking out of the car, but it didn't feel right. It took too much time, so I had to come up with a different idea to really hook the people in the very first second. So I had the idea to make the car actually come from the sky and drop on the parking lot, and it worked out pretty well. I cut the originally UGC hook and replaced it with this car falling down from the sky. Then we have the POV sequence here. Then from the POV, we go seamless into this Transformers effect. And this one originally wasn't planned either. So I just had the idea in the edit to make this one more unique again, to do something I haven't done before. So I came up with the Transformer, because you remember in the choreography, I integrated that turning, the twisting motion at the end. And I didn't know at this point what I want to do, like what animation I'm going to add. And I figured out in post. So this was what I was coming up with. So sometimes I do add actions in the choreography like that, but I don't know in the pre-production how it's going to look like. I might have an idea, but it's not 100% locked. So I have the option in the post-production to come up with creative ideas. Then we go into the car edit. We have a hyperlapse. I wanted to change the whole environment into the darkness, into rain, and then make the car assemble, fly inside, have the inside shot, and end it outside. So this one took a while. So this is like the main comp I'm editing in. I will go through it in a second. Then I have my render comp with motion blur applied. So here you can see the final result looks a bit different than my actually comp I'm working in, because at the end I want to apply to everything motion blur, a certain look. I had a bit of a lens distortion to make everything just look like shot on the same camera, and all of the shots are generated within Higgs field. So I have a canvas here. You know, these are the original shots we are starting with. Here you can see the lighting was not perfect, but we managed to then use the supercomputer to turn this shot into really well lit images. So here you can see the sky is really blue, it's well saturated, the car really pops with the green. So the first part I did to start the edit or the editing process was turning the original photos into images I can actually use. So kind of color grading, relighting. So this was the first part in the edit. Of course, first I had to make a selection of the best photos because in this 10-20 minutes I shot the car from every angle. So I have to decide which ones are the best ones. That's the first step. Then turning those into or relight those and color grade them. And from then we had to come up with a story. So it always helps. So that's why I like Canvas. It always helps to order the frames, the images that you have into the video order. So from there on you can define, okay, do I want a wide shot to close shot to wide shot again. So this is how we started thinking about the process of the edit, because here with placing the images, it really helps to place them first and then generate those videos and then see if the flow of the video is actually turning out nice. And we also relight this scene here. I really wanted to show you guys what's possible with the new tools, with the combination of Google Nano Banana Pro and Seedance 2.0, which I actually used inside Supercomputer, but also inside Canvas here. So I really played a lot with the Supercomputer because now you can actually chat with the AI itself and it can generate you within that chat. So usually my workflow is going into Claude, and in Claude adding and uploading the images, the videos, explaining what I want to generate, and then go back into the generator and adding the prompt there. But now I can like actually chat with Supercomputer, which helped in a lot of the stages of the editing process. I still like to use the Canvas feature here because here it really helps me to map out the entire vision, concept, coloring, and story of the entire video. So the combination of both really worked out really good for me. So let's quickly jump back into the After Effects comp here to show you what we have done. So as I said, we switch the hook to the car coming down from the sky. Then the original clip here with the phone, it was too bright and the display didn't show any of the camera UI. So actually did video to video, replaced the screen here, and here you can see the original POV clip. This is how it looks, and you can see we don't see anything on the display because it's just too bright. And the choice of my shirt was the worst I could ever wear on that day because you have all those lines and yeah, you cannot see anything. And then we actually did a video to video generation using Seedance. The phone replacement worked really well. So this is how it turned out then. And these are some of the details we just kept adding over and over the edit. With using video to video AI generations, merging with traditional VFX and After Effects work, and those replacements, I really tried it with Mocha to track it and replace it inside the phone, but it just didn't work. So I tried AI and actually worked out. So these are the kind of workflows I want to encourage you to try, because this is what I call the hybrid content creation. So then we have all of the HUDs are just tracked into 3D space, and then we actually generated the car in different lightings. So as you can see here, now it's nighttime, it changes in sunset, nighttime, and then daylight. And first of all, we generated the images to style transfer, to relight each image to this specific time of the day. And then again, we just exported that part. We wanted to change the lighting and use the reference, the image that we have generated with the different time of the day as a reference, and then used the video to video input tool feature with Seedance to get the exact same camera motion to match that, but with the new lighting applied. Then we just overlaid it here, and this is how we created the relight effect on the video. Then we are transforming the car into the transformers, and to create the transformers effect, we just took a screenshot of the POV video and generated an AI image with the transformer, with the car actually realistically transformed in the same parking lot. So we used as first frame this screenshot of the POV sequence, and as last frame we used the generation of the transformer. So this is the last frame, and then we just used the first and last frame feature with Seedance and created a prompt. As you can see in the prompt sheet, we have all the prompts in there. You can just check it out, link is down below. From there on, we created a couple of different angles of the transformer within the same location, within the same environment, and then use the first and last frame feature again. It's really important to have all of these image references and also video references, and this is why it's hybrid, I would say, because you take real environments, you change them, you take real subjects, you transform them, but you need all of these sources, these environments and subjects for your consistency to create different angles of exactly the same subject or environment. And here, to make it even more interesting, I wanted to add that kind of bullet time look. So all of the cracks from the ground are floating mid-air, and yeah. Again, here we're transforming back from the Transformers to the car, to the G-Wagon. Then we have a hyperlapse because we have all of these different lightings, right? We relit the scene. We can then create hyperlapses, which is pretty cool, I think. And then we have the assemble effect, which we also use on the Jeep. And here on the car, going inside and outside again. I really enjoy if the video has a smooth loop. So here we are, yeah, seamlessly starting the video over again. And throughout the entire edit, I used speed ramping techniques to speed up and slow down the clip. So let me turn on the keyframes here. Even the POV sequence, I sped up so the car comes down faster than originally. And here the Transformers effect is happening faster than we actually generated it, because I always want to generate it on a linear speed and then have the control myself where to speed up and slow down, because this is really important if you're editing to music, to match the motion, to match what's happening on the screen, especially with the speed ramp edits, to match that to your music. So I love to do that. So you see every single clip here is sped up, and I have my curves here, and I try to match it as best as possible to the music. So we have that rhythm, it goes like dum 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 dum, and this is just like, I don't want on every beat the speed ramp. I also like to have some of them kind of off, so you don't have so you don't know exactly what to expect, you know. So I like to add different kind of speed ramps on different types or beats. So yeah, and I think this one turned out pretty sick. Let me know if you have any questions down below. And of course, at the end, I added motion blur. So you can see here, I actually used the RSMB this time, the real smart motion blur. So let me quickly turn it off. So this is without and with motion blur. If I move around, especially fast, as we have here with the car and the Transformers, you just need and want to see motion blur. I think this here is a great example. We are passing by the feet of the Transformer is really close to the camera. We need to see motion blur. And this just makes the overall edit so much smoother and more realistic. So always add motion blur. And I also added a bit of color correction and lens distortion to just, yeah, merge everything better together. So I'm actually really happy with the outcome of the video, and I hope you enjoyed this behind the scenes look of that hybrid content production. If you want to see more of that type of content, of that format, then please leave a like and hit the subscription button. Now let me know in the comments if you have any questions and how you enjoy this new format. So with that being said, I hope you have learned a lot today, and I can't wait to see you in the next one.